what you do at Google during the day and just kind of like your foray into AI.
For sure, yeah. I am the UX manager of the data analytics team on Google Cloud.
I don't know who said it, but someone said the future of the new coding language is English. You create Home Genie. What is it? How you came up with it? And what did you use to build it?
Yep, as you mentioned earlier, I'm in the process of moving to Arkansas from Texas, and that involves.
Did you get a Lovable subscription for this,
Oh
or
yeah,
did you first
I
start with?
started with the
Yeah,
free
okay.
version, built out a landing page. I was like, I didn't know any. I had my first time user. I started using it like 2 weeks ago, literally.
So, what would something like this cost for someone to build?
So in total, I've spent about $250.
It's not bad at all.
So I think the future is bright. I'm looking forward to continuing playing with these tools and seeing, how my little project goes. And I'll probably spin up more
Yeah.
ideas because I have lots of ideas. And before it was all about time.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. This is your boy Amit, and today I'm talking to Isaac, who's going to show me how he built this mega site on Lovable. This same site would cost you upwards of $25,000 to build. If you were to hire someone, he was able to do it for $250. So with that, let's get started. I have Isaac with me. Isaac works at Google, just moved to Arkansas from Texas. Isaac, welcome to the show. How are you doing, man?
Thanks, Emmett. Yeah, doing great. Appreciate you inviting me on. Excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, I stumbled upon your reply and your app on this long Twitter post that everyone was commenting on. Someone said, "Hey, what cool tools have you built?" And then you jumped in. You're like, "I built Home Genie." So we're gonna get into Home Genie. You are a vibe coder, but let's talk a little bit about what you do during the day. All of us vibe coders, we are hustling at night, weekends, just building cool things, right? But let's start about what you do at Google during the day and just kind of like your foray into AI.
For sure, yeah. I am the UX manager of the data analytics team on Google Cloud. So we are responsible for big products like BigQuery, if you've ever heard of that.
Yes.
Dataflow, PubSub, Dataproc. There's a whole bunch that we kind of manage in our portfolio. I have a team of designers, and we're kind of responsible for all the user experience. We've been diving deep into AI over the past year, I would say, and pretty much everything we're doing revolves around it now. And so, as part of that, I wanted to just kind of explore outside of Google and see, what is
Right.
going on, because I hear all about vibe coding, and I come from more of a traditional web development design background. And something could take weeks or months to get a prototype out there unless you're really ambitious. And now it just seems like all those barriers have been removed completely, and anybody can just take an idea to a working app in a matter of hours or days. And I just find it fascinating.
It's crazy. Like I would be sitting just anywhere, right? And a thought comes to my mind, and I'm like, oh, let me just put this in Lovable. And then 10 minutes later, boom, it's like my vision comes to life. It's a wild time to be alive. I don't know who said it, but someone said the future of the new coding language is English.
Yeah.
Because that's how we are coding now. All right, let's get into your app. I'm going to share my screen and let's talk about Home Genie, how you came up with it. I think I know a little bit, but for our viewers, talk to me about this. You create Home Genie. What is it? How you came up with it? And what did you use to build it?
Yep. As you mentioned earlier, I'm in the process of moving to Arkansas from Texas, and that involves selling my house in Texas and buying a new house in Arkansas. And so, as part of that whole journey, I've learned a lot about, the pain points in real estate and buying and selling houses, and being, product designer, developer in my career. I look for these kind of opportunities. That's where the gold is. If you can find major pain points and problems that lots of people face, now you've got a market to cater to, and then you just got to figure out how to build something that can help solve their problem. So I kind of started building some small tools in here to help solve my own problems, like what's my new mortgage payment gonna look like, and what should I even sell my house for? I don't even know what it's worth. And where's this new place I'm moving to? I need to learn the neighborhood and all these questions, right? And so, Redfin and Zillow, and there's actually a lot of tools out there that can do bespoke things, but I was like, they're all scattered all over the place. And also, I don't see a lot of AI stuff built into these things. And working with my realtor, she's great, but she had to do, lots of manual work creating listings and typing typing this stuff and we had to edit it. And I'm like, better ways to do this stuff. Like AI is amazing at this stuff. And so I was like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go build something. And then, as I mentioned earlier, like at work, we're actually doing a lot of work with AI, infusing it into all the tools and products we build. And so I'm like, let's use this as an opportunity to kind of explore the tools that are available and look into this whole vibe coding thing. Like, I've been a skeptic, I'll admit. Like, I was like, this is never going to work. Like, it's just, you can't possibly sit on your couch and build an app and expect it to work and everything. And surprisingly, I've been proven wrong now after doing this. I think, Lovable has done a great job with their interface and also, other
Yep.
tools. I was like, I got 4 kids, I get full-time job. I don't have a lot of time. Like, if I had to do this the traditional way, I probably would have
Oh yeah.
gave up and been like, I don't have time to go do this. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take it on as a challenge and see what vibe coding is all about. And I've just been amazed at how much progress I was able to make just on nights and weekends, sitting on my couch on my phone, not even on my laptop,
Yeah,
you know?
that's just wild. So you started with the problem, then you were skeptic, but did you get a Lovable subscription for this,
Oh
or
yeah,
did you first
I
start with?
started with the
Yeah,
free
okay.
version, built out a landing page. I was like, I didn't know any. I had my first time user. I started using it like 2 weeks ago, literally, and
Oh wow.
I started using it as like I built a little landing page and had pretty good results just from a prompt. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna tweak this and added like dark mode. And then I think the real kind of light bulb moment was when I started hooking it up to some of the backend service. I was like, oh, just add off. That's the only prompt I used. And it built the entire like auth system and designed and hooked it up. And at that moment, my brain started to melt, and I was like, okay, what can this thing actually do? And so, I mean, I don't know if you've looked in here too much, but I've got like white labeling built into here. It has a whole REST API with documentation, and then I have an AI assistant in here that uses its own API that it built to give you like an agent that you can talk to, just like ChatGPT, for anything real estate related, and it leverages all these
Yep.
tools in here. And it's got all the, payment stuff for Stripe and rate limiting. And this would have taken
Oh my
me
gosh.
months to build, if not longer, using like the traditional development route. And using Lovable and just the vibe coding tools, I've just been amazed. And I mean, I've had to like put it into GitHub and then use it
Yeah.
locally. I use Claude and like VS Code to do some development using AI locally as well, playing with those tools, Cursor, things like that. I found it to
Yep.
be faster to do like manual edits to like CSS and like Tailwind and fine tuning things, and then sync it back to GitHub, bring it back into Lovable. That saves me on some credits. And then I can do the heavy lifting in Lovable, like build out this whole new section. It can write a bunch of code way faster than I could, and then I can fine tune it
Yep.
locally. That's kind of been my workflow.
Okay. So you mentioned GitHub. You mentioned kind of spit out a bunch of things that most people might not know, right? They might know Lovable, they might know GitHub, but then you went into Cursor, then you went into Tailwind and CSS.
Mm-hmm.
Could I do this entire thing with just Lovable, or do you think that's like a good starting point and then start integrating as your requirements change?
I think you can do it all with Lovable. I really do.
Okay.
And they just asked me to participate in their beta of their new like whole backend functionality that they're building. It's all
Ooh.
deeply integrated. So I've been testing that the last couple days, and it's actually even easier, I would say, now for people who don't know anything about backends to just add authentication, add storage, all the underlying services. It has it all built in, and it's more seamless. So you don't have to worry about like Supabase, which is a great platform. It can do a lot for you, but it's also intimidating for anyone who's not a coder.
Yes.
They go in there and they're like, "Oh my God, I don't know anything about like databases and logs," and they have the permissioning system that they use is kind of buggy. It feels like in Lovable, it had to like fix a lot of RLS type errors and things. So there are some,
Yeah.
barriers I think they're still trying to overcome, but in general, I'd say yes, they could use Lovable to build an app from start to finish.
That's insane. And I mean, that was the next logical step, right? We have that friction point where, oh, you want the user credentials saved. Go create a project in Supabase. Now, someone like me who's like vibe coding for fun, I'm like, oh, I have 7 projects, but I can only have two on the free
Oh
plan.
yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, which one should I pause? So yeah,
Oh yeah.
it made sense for them to add that, and then they can probably charge more because now they have all of that integrated within Lovable.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm on your site, Home Genie.
Hmm.
Tell me, if I'm a homeowner, I come here. Where do I go from here as a homeowner? I go to let's say I want to try the closing calculator. So I'm now on the closing calculator, super fast, by the way.
Hmm.
Is this all the entire architecture of this website? Like every single page is lovable too?
Yeah, I've made it a challenge to use Lovable as much as I could to build this thing.
Okay.
Only really pulled it into GitHub and made manual changes when I felt like, okay, I want to move this thing like 10 pixels and I just don't want to like spend credits to ask Lovable to do it for me. Or in some cases I found it hard to like target specific elements and say, remove the margin around this or
Yeah.
shift this above this other thing or whatever. So those are the only cases where I took it upon myself to do like manual edits, and the rest of it I just did in Lovable. Probably I'd say 90% of it on my phone on the couch over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, this is a great example of what's the art of possible. I have been building like one-click tools for my own use case in Lovable, but this is something that, I mean, this you could get clients, right? You
Yep.
have a pricing plan here, so
Mhm.
you could potentially sell this
Yeah,
as a
I have
service.
about probably 6 beta testers right now, different realtors, agents that I know, and they've agreed to go in here and poke around and give me feedback. And so that's kind of the first step is have the people that you're friends with or you know closely who are like
Mhm.
experts in these areas, have them go test it out and like tell you what's working, what's not. Before I would do like a little mini research study and just ask them questions, not even have UI, like say, what are the main pain points you're facing? What could help solve this problem for you? What tools are you using today? All those kinds of things. But now it's like I can go build a prototype in a week or days and put that in front of them, and they can actually play with a real working thing. And it's so much more effective to like get their initial reaction, understand if you're actually solving a pain point or not. And so I've already learned from
Yep.
them, like, I need MLS integration. That's pretty important. Like, you need live data from all the listings and all the properties and everything. But in general, I've got really good feedback so far that some of these tools are really powerful. And the fact that it has AI built in and they can, use AI to generate their home listings and have different kinds of moods and voice tones, and it can generate 5 different versions in 5 seconds, and they can copy and paste to Facebook. Like, it's already
Yeah.
solving problems that save them time, right? And so I think what I've learned is time is valuable, especially for them when they've got lots of different deals in progress or whatever. So if you can even save them like 5 minutes a day, like that's
Mhm.
my goal is, save them 5 to 10 hours a week in
Nice.
whatever role they are, right? If I can do that, then the tool has real value that they would probably be willing to pay for and tell their friends about. And so then it's just a matter of getting the pricing right and making sure it's usable and like easy to understand and operate.
Yeah, and I can see like it's done a great job, and it plus you, right? You were the one giving it the commands where every click leads to the sign up. So you're kind of urging users to, hey, you want to use it, it's free, but we need your email so you can at least know who's coming in, and then you
Yep.
can look at the in-app analytics. And I feel like that's for something like this, that's maybe the next step too, right? Is how do you see the usage? Because I don't think Lovable provides that. So would that be something you go to Superbase, or do you implement a tool that looks at what are they doing in the app,
Oh yeah.
whether it's a web app,
Let me actually
anything?
show you because I did build some tools
Yeah,
to do that. Let me see if I can
we love tools.
share my screen real quick. Okay, so if I go into here, so I've got a couple tools I built that only I can really see as far as the users that I have right here. So I've got kind of a whole like user management system built into this.
Oh my gosh.
So that tells me exactly who's signed up. If people, like I've given people a pro plan as well, so like a paid version to test out. Other people have just signed up on their own. Then I also have like an analytics dashboard. And so here I get an idea, within the last like 7 days, I can kind of tell what the activity looks like as far as like engagement, just people kind of using it, what the platforms they're using the most, desktop, mobile, tablet. Seems like desktop is more used about 60% of the time. And then it goes into actual like the user journey flows, like page views as far as like conversions and using
Wow.
tools versus completing certain actions. What are the top performing pages and tools? So this gives me an idea what tools they're actually going to the most often and using. And then I have an idea, okay, these are the things that people are finding valuable. Because I've got, I don't know, 35 different tools in here. And I just built tools for all the things that I thought would be valuable. And I even asked ChatGPT, rate like the top 5 problems that these different people have in their daily jobs. And what would that look like if it was turned into a tool? And so I even, asked AI to help me understand what I should build that would be even valuable to these
Yeah.
people. So,
This is wild.
so
I mean, I'm on the $20 a month plan,
mhm.
and I want to know on Lovable, what would this cost? As far as this looks like, it's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of
Oh
prompting,
yeah.
and each prompt is like a credit, right? And you,
Hmm.
on at least on my plan, I get like 100 credits a month plus the five free that they throw in there. So, what would something like this cost for someone to build?
So in total, I've spent about $250.
It's not bad at all. How much would I pay a developer for this? Would be
Oh, you would pay
20, 30, 100x.
probably 50 grand easily, and
Yeah.
months of work. And you probably have, even if you got like an offshore team over in Europe or India or something, you'd still be looking at 25K at least minimum to get this thing started. And it would take months for sure. And it would, yeah. So the cost savings are just insane. And I mean, I started with the free Lovable plan, probably used up those credits in a day, just learning how the platform worked. Instantly
Right.
upgraded to the next tier, and I think that was like $20 a month. Blew,
Yep.
blew through all those in like another couple days. And now I think I'm at the, I don't know, 500 a month plan, and I've got like 2,000 credits, and those are almost gone as well. And so I feel like I'm just continuously sort of advancing, but I think I got it to the point now where in 2 weeks I've built a pretty like comprehensive platform that has like 90% of the ideas in it that I feel make it into a product that's usable. And now it's just a matter of validating with real users, getting feedback, trimming it down, cutting the stuff that people don't really find useful or valuable to simplify the experience, and then really hone in on the stuff that people are willing to pay for. And at that point, you've got a
Yep.
market, you've got a product, you've got a business.
I think looking at this from a homeowner's lens, I think the homeowner piece in my mind should be peanuts, if not free, right? But your real moneymaker is the real estate agents who are going to be using the tool for listings and whatnot. That's
Yep.
how I look at it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that's kind of what I've been getting to as well. Like they're willing to pay upwards of, $50 a month minimum. And if they're a team, then now you're looking at a couple $100. And I mean, it's a $1 trillion market. There's, I don't know, 100 or 1.5 million like real estate agents in the US or something. I did a little bit of research. That's a huge market, right? And so
Yeah.
figuring out, it's like something that would be useful for 10% of them, and they're willing to pay you $50 a month. Like you've got a
Yeah.
multi-$100,000 ARR business.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because most people are like, "Oh, my TAM is like the entire market." No, that's you're like, I just want a 10%. I realistically, you cannot get all the real estate users, right?
No.
Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, we talked before we started recording. This guy that I interviewed earlier, Micah from Alaska, his total addressable market was all the fishermen who are on Bristol Bay, which is like a tiny fishery in Alaska,
Yeah.
and he made $10,000 in real money creating an app. So a lot of time it's the unlock, right? For us indie hackers, the unlock is that AI came along and tools like Lovable became available to us. That was our unlock. Before that, our unlock was you had to hire a developer, which
Yeah.
was like the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
For the fishermen on the water, or for Micah to be able to sell to them, Tesla came along, created Starlink. Starlink was now available on the waters in Alaska,
Mhm.
and they could now look at the app. Before that, it was UHF radio, right?
Yep.
It's crazy that how one technology unlocks a whole new set of possibilities.
So,
So I'm really excited about this. Let me share and show you, and you tell me what I'm missing here. So as you were talking, I was taking notes.
mhm.
Start with the problem, right? How are you going into Lovable and prompting the problem? Are you having ChatGPT write like a product requirement document, or how are you going about?
So at first, I mean, I was like I said, I was a skeptic. So I'm like, I go in there, I'm like, create a landing page. Not even specific at all. Like, what kind of garbage are you going to spit out? And I think like if the kind of output you get is based on the input you give. So if you are a little more specific, you're probably going to get a better output. And I mean, the nice thing though is Lovable is actually pretty good at just by default generating something that has a good design and kind of fits, your use case a little bit as far as content generation, colors, all that stuff. So your starting point is actually really good, and then you just need to like refine it. And I think you get better at like prompting, figuring out what works, what doesn't. I think what I've learned is if you can tell it to like you kind of ask it like how would you build a team feature, for example. When I added my little team feature for my Home Genie, that's what I did. I was like, how would you build this? And it was like, oh, we would suggest adding like a team section with the ability to like invite team members and approve them, and then maybe you should have like projects that can be associated with teams, because in real estate a lot of them like work in this way. And so I'm like, that sounds really smart. Okay. And so it kind of developed a plan, and they actually have a nice feature that I haven't seen in other tools where it'll outline a plan for you. It's like, here's like a multi-phased approach to going about building this. Implement the plan, right? It's actually like a call to action that they put in there. So you can say, okay, implement the plan, like phase one, right? And so it's like, okay, build the initial like team pages and kind of the ability to like invite team members and add them and stuff, right? And so I feel like as the vibe coding and all that advances, more and more people are going to realize if you ask it for guidance, like it's basically an expert level developer in a lot of ways, right? But it also has a lot of other knowledge. And so if you kind of ask it instead of telling it, unless you're confident, like this is what I want you to do, if you ask it, oftentimes it'll give you a really nice comprehensive outline of like what you should do. And then you can just say, okay, go do that.
Yeah. That's what I have been doing, but sometimes it gets my point and sometimes it just goes off on a completely different tangent, but I feel like it's getting better.
Oh yeah, it definitely has the ability to kind of hallucinate. I've had to go revert back to like a previous version because it went and modified a bunch of files I didn't expect it to, and it built out a bunch of stuff that I was like, I don't understand how this works, so I'm just gonna like start over, right? But that's the nice thing about it with vibe coding. Like if you had to do that yourself, you could waste a week building out a feature and realize like this isn't the best way to do it, and now you've lost a week. Where with vibe coding and these tools, it's a couple minutes.
And I will say this, I'm not a developer. So when I did talk to Micah, who has been coding since he was 14, he's 28 now, so half his life, I think this is where he put the emphasis was he spends close to an hour talking to AI, just setting up the database. He's like, everything you look at is a database, whether it's an app, a website, whatever, right? If you have that structure solid, your foundation, then the rest just follow. So he will riff with AI on, okay, let's talk about how are users going to authenticate themselves? How are we going to store the user data? How are we going to store the weather data? How are we going to store the data for the boats? And everything is a different table. And you worked with BigQuery. You understand data, but most people like me don't.
Start with the back end, think about how the data is connected, what data needs to be available. Yeah, that's a whole different way of starting. And as an engineer, you would probably start that way. As a designer, you think more like what functionality, how is it going to look and feel and all that stuff. But as an engineer, yeah, you're thinking about, databases, APIs, schemas, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think we all need to put on a little bit of that hat, right? So it's good that we have these tools now, so we can also explore. You and I and people who are using Lovable, we are tinkerers. We want to explore new tools, so we are expanding our horizons.
Yeah.
And tools like Lovable make it possible. I tried Bolt, wasn't a fan, but that was a long time ago. Which I mean, in AI speak, a long time ago. It was like maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So maybe they have gotten better, but Lovable and Replit seem to kind of lead the charge on this no-click coding, right? So I think I covered it all. You added authorization, which is essentially users signing up. Lovable takes care of it. And then did you have to actually connect any APIs on the back end with Firebase or whatever?
No, not Firebase. I mean, I just used the built-in Supabase like SQL database that they provide. It's a Postgres database. So that for me, I used their built-in auth, built-in storage. I think the only like integration was just, Stripe really. Setting up Stripe,
Okay.
setting up the different plans, figuring out how to get Stripe integrated and using those particular plans that I had set up, connecting it. So, and updating the UI, like once they've actually logged in and paid for something, showing them like what plan they're on on, making it clear, like, okay, I'm a paid user now. What do I have access to that I didn't before? All those kinds of things.
Knowing what you know now and how much time you spent on it with the Stripe integration and everything, what would you go back and do differently? Would you still put a paywall right away, or would you have all the features available to get the feedback first? What's your kind of like takeaways if we go back and
Mhm.
do a quick retro on this project?
Yeah, I don't think I would start with a paywall. In my mind, I think you need to start with something that's free, unless you are like really confident that there's a market out there and you're solving some real problems. And me being in this situation I am, like selling a house, buying a house, I've experienced these pains like every day for the last 6 months. And so I
Yeah.
knew I'm not the only one, right? So I knew that there's a problem to be solved that other people could benefit from. But if it's a new area that you're not really sure and you're kind of diving in for the first time and exploring, try to focus on making something that has value for free first, get some initial feedback, and then like they're going to tell you if it's worth paying money for. And you're going to see by people using it more and more and they're sharing it more and more. That's the signal that, okay, this has some value. And then you just got to figure out what is the best model to use, a subscription model, one-time payment, credits, however you want to do it. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
models, but
So learn from the company that you work for who made Gmail free
yes.
and don't put it behind the paywall.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they wanted to like drive more people to search, right? That was the whole motivation.
Yeah.
So like any tool we can build that's going to increase people to use search is ads, add money in the bank.
I think with emails, right? Real estate, you must have gone back and forth with your realtor on email like a million times.
Yep.
Gmail hasn't changed.
Hmm.
Someone's going to either come and eat their money again with search, just like what happened with search, or they're going to need to innovate how Gmail evolves into an AI first email platform.
Oh yeah, both of those
And I
things
think
are true. I think add
Grammarly just bought.
advertising, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation we could have, but ads in this AI world, I can imagine, in ChatGPT, Lovable, all these tools, they're gonna have ads injected at some
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's the next, natural evolution, which is unfortunate because I love this experience right now where there's not a bunch of ads like thrown at me everywhere. But that's just the nature
Yeah.
of the market, and that's how it's gonna have to evolve because the days of looking at static websites and seeing your banner ad pop up, like those days are gone. Like I'm just going to communicate. And like you said earlier, with the voice being maybe the next sort of way that you interact with this stuff, I'm not even looking at a screen anymore. I'm just
Yeah.
talking to this thing and I expect it to build what I wanted to just by speaking to it.
Exactly. I was driving with my kids yesterday and we were going by these cables of like wires, just electricity wires, and they have these orange balls on them. And my kids are like, "What's those orange balls?" I was like, "I don't know, but let's find out." I fired up chat using Chat GPT and just voice mode, and they can hear it in the car. And I was like, "Hey, what are those orange blob looking things on electrical wires?"
Yeah.
Right away it's like they are this, and they are used by pilots who are flying maybe too low. And
Hmm.
there we have it. I'm not going to Google and searching for it.
Yes.
And I know that most people are doing that. So yeah, you're right. And now companies have come up. So I wrote a Medium article about ChatGPT came out with this new sassy chatbot called Monday. I don't know if you've used it. It's pretty
I've
fun.
used it.
And I wrote a whole ChatGPT Medium article about it. Someone commented on that article that they asked ChatGPT what is Monday, and Monday referenced that Medium article, and they were able to find my article through ChatGPT. So that's how SEO is evolving. That companies have now come up with tools where they keep injecting enough data to make the chatbot believe like this is the source of truth,
Yeah.
and then that keeps showing up in the chat search, and then now that's the new click to get to the source. So it's fascinating. I think this has been great, Isaac. Anything that I missed that you would like people to know as they start their lovable journey or continue on the lovable journey?
I would say, have fun with it. Like, also realize that this thing is not complete magic still. Like, you shouldn't put all your trust in these tools. You can do a lot with them, but it's still just a tool. It's not going to like replace a human yet. And so when you launch these things, just beware like, okay, it could break. You need to like know more about how it works under the hood and not just rely completely on the system. But I would say it's such a great opportunity where you can just have an idea now and build something in a matter of hours or days and put it out there in the world. And I'm interested to see how that evolves with potentially millions of new apps now being launched by like a 14-year-old, like talking about our kids, right? Like maybe now they have the ability to go launch these things, right? And they don't have to worry about infrastructure. Like maybe you need to know about cost. That's another thing too. I don't know how much
Yeah.
this stuff's going to cost yet. But the fact that I can go build something and potentially solve a problem, I mean, that's just amazing for humanity. So I think the future's bright. I'm looking forward to continuing playing with these tools and seeing, how my little project goes. And I'll probably spin up more
Yeah.
ideas because I have lots of ideas. And before it was all about time, and now time is a commodity, right? So it's like
Yep. Yep.
I can sit on the couch when I'm probably just watching TV, and I can still watch TV and build an app at the same time, which is just mind blowing.
From your cell phone.
My cell phone, yes. And it makes it mobile first by default, which is great too.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And maybe we'll have you for part two once you have started making some money and get into lessons learned and how others can make money.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, man. I look forward to that. And thanks for having me on, and enjoy the rest of your day.
And there you have it. That is how versatile Lovable is. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, you know the drill. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you get notified next time I release a video. And until next time, keep prompting.